All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Yordenis Ugas speaks his mind about Terence Crawford's next opponent, the great Alexis Rocha. Let's talk about that in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Fanon, and in this video, we're going to be in the 147-pound division where Terence Bud Crawford's next opponent is now known, and it is not what many fans would have been hoping. It will be Alexis Rocha, who is promoted by Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, and Yordenis Ugas takes to Twitter to give his thoughts about it, or rather ask a question, which is honestly, so obvious that he's kind of insulting it. But let's talk about that and also talk about what this fight really is. But before I get into that, let me welcome you back to the channel. Hold on one second. Let me welcome you back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, please accept my invitation to hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell icon so you can be notified of when we release more videos. And also, if you're a longtime subscriber and supporter, thank you guys so much for your continued support of the channel. This video I'm going to dedicate to Blessed 365, who I've not seen in a while. Big time Terence Crawford fan. But let's get into this. All right, man. So Yordenis Ugas takes to Twitter and asks a question. He's like, seriously, he said, who is Alexis Rocha? He said, no disrespect, right? No disrespect. Now, when somebody says no disrespect, man, they know that they're about to come off real disrespectful. And no disrespect, and don't mean to be funny about this, but who is this Rocha and what is his record? Like, who is this dude Terence Crawford's about to fight? You got to be kidding me. It's pretty much what he's saying. And I think that is universally the reception that should happen in this particular fight because, man, come on, man. Can we please get Terence Crawford into a good fight? Like, if it's not going to be the Errol Spence Jr. fight, fine. But can it be some type of competitive fight? Because at this point in time, it is absolutely getting a little bit ridiculous. However, I know that many people are going to say, hey, man, this is a mandatory fight for Terence Crawford. There's nothing that he can do about it. The WBO ordered the fight, right? His last mandatory was over a year ago with Sean Porter. So what's Terence Crawford supposed to do about it? And how can you blame Terence Crawford for the fact that this fight is going to get made, right? Here's the thing. Terence Crawford, last mandatory was in November of 2021. He is the WBO super champion. The WBO super champion mandatory is not due for 18 months, which would mean that his fight with his next mandatory would not be due to be ordered until April. It is February. This is a month, if almost close to 2 months, and actually it's closer to June, that his mandatory should be getting ordered. This mandatory is coming up 2 entire months before, 2 months ahead of time. How does that happen? Somebody requests a mandatory. That's the only way that I know of that the WBO is going to actually order a mandatory fight early. And that is something that you can definitely do. Because if you recall, Canelo Alvarez requested of the WBC that Yeldrum be his WBC mandatory. So, and that's one of the criticisms I had for Canelo Alvarez is that Canelo Alvarez for the WBC 168-pound basically said, yeah, I know I got a mandatory. I'll take a mandatory. Let it be my sparring partner. And so he didn't. He actually got mandated a very, very easy fight. Now, to answer the question of Alexis Rocha, who is Alexis Rocha? Alexis Rocha is a guy that lost a lopsided fight to Speedy Rashidi Ellis. And he also, that's the fight that I remember him for the most. Having been thoroughly outboxed by Speedy Rashidi Ellis, lumbering behind Speedy Rashidi Ellis and getting pieced up by Speedy Rashidi Ellis maybe 2 years ago. And that resulted with Speedy Rashidi Ellis getting put on the shelf until he left Golden Boy. Now, Alexis Rocha big win is the biggest win of his career, however, comes against Blair Cobbs, who he knocked out in the ninth round. So Blair Cobb is his big win. His big loss is Alexis Rocha. This is a guy that he's a 5'10", so he's kind of tall, 5'10", southpaw, but it should be a very, very simple, straightforward, easy win for Terence Crawford. And it's not something that any type of boxing fans are really looking forward to, right? So not only did we not get the Errol Spence Jr. fight, right? Now you have, and instead of that, we got David Avanesyan. So we're going to go from David Avanesyan to Alexis Rocha. Now, also, according to the report that came out from Boxing Scene, Terence Crawford is considering, or they're in talks of signing a multi-fight deal with Golden Boy Promotions. Now, as we know, he's not going to be going back to BLK Prime. BLK, I think that is safe to say, because this is a mandatory fight. Since this is a mandatory fight, if they do not come up with an agreement between Terence Crawford and Golden Boy, who is only going to be fighting Alexis Rocha on DAZN, it becomes a battle between DAZN and BLK Prime. And BLK Prime more than likely is not even going to enter into that phrase. So he's one and done and goes over to BLK Prime. Goes over to DAZN to fight Alexis Rocha on a multi-fight deal that Oscar De La Hoya said may also include Virgil Ortiz after this fight. However, if what the WBO said is true, my understanding is that Terence Crawford had turned down, at least through Bob Arum, a fight with Virgil Ortiz multiple times. Look, man, if it's true that he turned down fights with Virgil Ortiz multiple times, he turns down a fight with Errol Spence Jr. He won't do a multi-fight deal with the PBC, right? Won't do a multi-fight deal with PBC, but would consider one with Golden Boy Promotions and DAZN. Man, this is just for his career. Like, people talk about legacy and all this stuff, man. Look, dude, this is kind of like a little bit Adrian Bronner-ish, however, with no losses, right? Like Adrian Bronner, with people were really, really excited about Adrian Bronner. He won championships in a bunch of divisions, and then he runs into Marcus Maidana and he loses. And, he has a bunch of fights that he loses and people still like him, right? But it's just his career just falters off, right? Terence Crawford seems like it's doing the same thing, except for he's not doing it with losses. He's doing it with the level of competition that he's choosing to fight. To go away from the PBC, where most of the good welterweights and the tough competition is, both at 147 and 154, to go do this type of stuff and apparently ask for the mandatory against Alexis Rocha, because we all knew that he was in negotiations with Oscar De La Hoya to fight Alexis Rocha at least 2 weeks ago. So they have that conversation, and then it gets ordered, and it gets ordered 2 months, 2 months early. Nah, man, he's requesting that fight. But anyway, it is what it is. I agree with Yordenis Ugas, man. Who is this? And a Yordenis Ugas fight would be much better with Terence Crawford, provided his eye and all that stuff is together. But, I just don't hold out any hopes that we're really going to see good fights with Terence Crawford. It seems like he's coasting his career out, honestly. Anyway, but it is what it is. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Deuces.